Boom! Hey guys, welcome back to Jason Unleashed. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Jason Carter here. I know it's been a minute since I've been live. Been busy. Things brewing, but I'm back and it's so good to see you. Hope you guys are all doing well. My show today is a good one because my guest is just she's amazing. She's amazing. She is a Miamian. She is from Pittsburgh. She's a lot of things, and she is Joy Taylor, the co-host of The Herd on Fox Sports 1, and also the creator and host of the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. And she's a legend, you guys, a legend. So we're gonna go live with her in a bit. She's gonna step into the room. Hope you guys are doing well. Why can't I see people below? This is crazy. Anyways, let me see if Joy has joined the chat. There we go. Let me go find Joy real quick. Wait for it. Here we go. Instagram updated. I'm kind of scared, but nonetheless, Joy Taylor is here. It's going to be a great combo. She's an incredible woman and just simply elated that she's here. Whoa, Joy, that face. Whoa, you hit me with that beauty.
How are you, Jason?
Good. I am great. Welcome to Jason Unleashed, Joy. It is good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. First of all, I'm loving the shortcut. It looks so good on you.
Thank you. You know, I'm on a curly hair journey.
Yeah.
So I had to do the big chop, but you know, I work in television, so you got to be kind of strategic how you do that. So I went to a curly hair salon in Florida where salons are open, COVID safe, and she gave me a nice cut, curl pop. Check her out. But thank you very much. I like it.
Curl, and it looks fantastic. It is so good to see you. First of all, congratulations on everything you are doing. Pete, Joy, when I tell you I was getting my haircut today at a COVID safe salon, and my barber was like, "Oh, who do you have on today?" I said, "Joy Taylor." 4 people were like, "Yo, really? Is Jason coming on too?" Like, they were all about it. You're like royalty here in Miami. That has to feel good.
Well, thank you. I mean, Miami is like my second home. You know, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, but I lived in Miami for almost 10 years and went to school at Barry University. And, you know, I think Zaslow and I were really lucky. We struck gold and had a great show and a great time. Zaslow, Romberg, myself, and Tobin, who are all still doing radio in South Florida. So I love South Florida. I've spent actually a lot of time there this year, you know, with the Super Bowl there. I was just there 2 weeks ago visiting my family. My mother lives there now, both my brothers. So I have a lot of love for Miami and South Florida. And our Heat won game 1. Hello.
That game last night. Joy, I'm not even, okay, so full disclosure, I am not the biggest sports fan, but I was at Outback last night watching that game. Great game. The Celtics are probably really pissed today, but it was an incredible game. Complex Sports says, Joy, go Heat, in the comments below.
Hi, guys.
So let's get into you. You've had this incredible career. You not only are you killing it on television, but you're like a vlog queen as well. I watch all your vlogs, and your Maybe I'm Crazy podcast is simply stellar. But let's take us to the beginning. I'm sure you tell people the story all the time, but how did you get into broadcasting, and how did you become the Joy Taylor that you are today?
Well, so I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is a huge sports town. They wrap the babies in terrible towels when you're born. So you just kind of have to be a sports fan if you're born and raised in Pittsburgh. But also I grew up around a lot of women who were sports fans. My grandmother and my aunts were kind of like the Golden Girls. And every time I'd go over there, like we'd be, someone's calling me, watching whatever, TV, Scooby-Doo or whatever. And like at a certain time, we gotta watch the game now. So I just grew up around sports fans. And obviously watching my brother play. And then I played sports growing up. I played basketball, soccer, volleyball, and track. So I've just been around sports my whole life. But I also kind of had that traditional broadcasting story where, you know, my mom had bought us this like used VHS camera. I remember those things that you put like the whole VHS tape in.
Totally.
And so we would just record, you know, movies and news broadcasts with the hairbrush. Like, this is Joy Taylor reporting live from my bedroom. So it was just kind of like, I guess, meant to be. I love being on camera, but I also like producing. Like, I love the creative side of the business, putting together a story, putting together a show. And so I started on the production side, and I've always loved radio. I love Howard Stern. I love the ability to bring people into the room with you, to make everyone feel like, you know, you're on your ride to work and you're hanging with friends. And
Right.
I think that if you do a successful show, that really becomes a part of people's routine and a part of people's lives. It certainly was for me. And, you know, I've always loved that idea. So I really am kind of a radio nerd, and I started in radio.
Same.
And so I started interning in 2007 at 560 QAM in Miami on the Joe Rose Morning Show, and working at the Barry University student radio station, and interned for DJ Laz. Everyone in Miami knows who DJ Laz is. So I was intern producer for DJ Laz for a year, and then just ended up getting a job a few years out of college with 560 QAM, where I had interned, which is why internships are so important.
Very.
With Sid Rosenberg doing the afternoon show, part-time producer, you know, $8 an hour. They don't really tell you how it goes in this business, but you're not going to make any money for a long time. And that's okay.
A long
you just
time.
you have to be resilient. You're going to work a couple jobs, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5.
Seriously. I love that you started in radio. I did too. And there's something to be said about people who cut their teeth in radio and how that transitions onto television, because with TV, it's a visual medium, of course. So you have the distractions of how we look, and there's nuance to that lends itself to being able to get away with some things. But in radio, you have to fill time. You have to be able to crack that mic, engage thousands, sometimes millions of people. 3 seconds of dead air on air is like a lifetime. But transitioning from radio into television, how was that for you? Because there are some people like Howard Stern and a myriad of people who've been able to do that successfully, but that also is a skill set for you. What was that journey like, going, okay, from behind the mic to in front of the camera?
Well, I kind of had done some freelancing stuff, you know, in college, I'm sorry. And then, you know, you do your projects and you kind of cut your teeth a little bit and learn how to be on camera. But it really, all of those reps while doing radio really helped me. Like, being on TV, like you said, it's a visual medium. So there's so many more things you have to pay attention to. Like, when you're in radio, you know, how everyone's working from home in their sweatpants, especially sports radio. Like, you come in, you're in sweatpants, you're in a hoodie, it's no makeup. You can come in 5 minutes before the show's on. There's no mic check, you know, there's no hair and makeup. So your prep is done all, you know, through phone calls, and it's, you know, group text. It's a completely different world. It's very intimate.
Yeah.
Television is so, first of all, not intimate. There are so many people on set. There are people just coming over and just touching you and then walking away. You don't know people's names. It's like, it's a completely different world. When you're in studio, obviously, when you're on the road and you're reporting, it's a little more intimate. But the transition to me was, I found TV to be a little more difficult at first, because I want to be relaxed, and you can be relaxed on TV, but only until you get comfortable with the platform, right? Like radio, I was so comfortable because you're just talking and no one's seeing you. TV, you got to sit up straight. You got to remember to smile. I have RBF. Some of them know what that means, but like, if I'm not actively smiling, I look very mean. So, you know, you have to remember, you know, there's a lot more that goes into television. So reps really helped me get comfortable. And, you know, I worked in South Florida covering youth sports, freelancing, eventually worked for CBSSports.com, Fantasy Football Live. So all of those things, you know, repetition, doing things on your own, and radio really helped me get comfortable with TV.
Comfortable is, I would say, like the goal when you're on television, because even though like you said, the reps, it's like working out. The more you do it, the more you build that muscle, the stronger it gets. But even the greats, Joy, still get nervous. What is for you? Do you have a before air ritual, or like, do you still get nervous when you're about to go live?
I don't get nervous, but I am a very big routine person. So when I came to FS1, I was just doing Fox Sports Radio, and I was kind of filling in with Colin here and there, but I wasn't, you know, full-time on air until Undisputed had launched. And Undisputed is a morning show. So if you've ever worked morning anything, It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're waking up.
A grind.
It's a grind, yes. It's the weeks blend into each other at times. But I learned to become a very routine person because like every minute of sleep counts, every minute of the morning counts. And I really liked that lifestyle for work, and I've kept it moving forward. So it helps. It's similar to being an athlete. If you do the same thing, then it becomes a routine. You're not thinking about it. And then you can really focus on the creative side. You can really focus on playing. You can really focus on your art, whatever it is that you do. So for me, like I wake up at the same time every day. I get in the shower at the same time. I try to park in the same parking spot. I eat the same thing for breakfast. Like everything is very routine up until the show so that I can just pour everything into the show. I'm not wondering about like, what am I wearing? And oh my God, there's traffic and this and that. You know, things happen obviously that are out of your control, but keeping that routine really helps me to not be nervous because I'm not scrambling and running and, you know, thinking about, oh my God, I left this or whatever. Like I try to put everything in the same place every day. You know, my keys, I don't have to wonder where my keys are. You know, all those things really help me to not be nervous. And the other thing, of course, is prep.
Prep. Word.
People think that you're just like running on air, like, what are we talking about today?
Right.
And I have worked with some talent that do it that way, but they've been in the business a very long time, so they can do that. For me, prep is huge. The more prep that you do, and prep is research, talking out your topics, working with your producer, checking out Twitter, you know, checking out, you know, reading the stories, making notes. I have lots of notes. I'm very meticulous about my notes. And all those things just, I don't get nervous because I'm ready to do this. Like everything is in place. I did the same thing yesterday. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what we're talking about. So all those things really help me from being nervous. But I was, of course, nervous the first day. But once you get into routine, it helps.
You're a Capricorn, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. There we go. The earth sign, grounded. Get it. Shout out to everyone in the comments. Well, let's up to Aaron Rodgers official. He's like your biggest fan. So excited you're on the show today. Joy, you're okay. So FS1, Undisputed, The Herd. You have ascended and have really cemented yourself as someone in sports media that is heralded, that is lauded, that people look to. On Undisputed, you were more of a moderator, yes? Like you were Shannon, Skip, you were kind of like, boys, calm down. But now on The Herd, you were in the chair, you were in the hot seat, and millions of people tune in to see and hear your opinion. Making that transition to that show, like when you got the news and you were like, okay, we're doing this, what was going through your head? Because that's like, I hate to say glow up, because listen, you bust your ass in this business. People think that it's an overnight success, but an overnight success in entertainment is 15 to 20 years in the making, right? So you like the work, you did the work. But when you finally arrived on The Herd, how did that feel?
Well, I gotta say, I really loved being on Undisputed. It was a great experience for me. I loved working with Shannon and Skip every day. And not to like take away from the transition to The Herd, but kind of my second job was filling in with Colin when Christine would be out. So I had done the show with him many times before I actually made the transition over to The Herd. And while it's a completely different role, Colin and I had kind of already broken the ice. We kind of knew the beats of the show. Now, obviously, I've been on the show for 2 years, so we have a much more complex like on-air chemistry, and it's much more fluid. And then having to do the show during COVID really just, I think, took The Herd to a whole nother level, because we were doing 5 months of a sports show with no sports. So it really has, amplified both of us. Not that Colin needs it, obviously he's a legend, but we talk about it all the time, like, wow, we really got through that, and relied on each other, having to do it remotely. He's in the radio studio, I'm at home. But yeah, so the transition wasn't too dramatic because I had already known the beats of the show. And I know I'm kind of speaking inside baseball here, but each show has a unique skeleton, if you will. So when you get on a show that is completely different from Undisputed, which is, like you said, I'm the moderator, the role is very specific, it's very necessary. You've got to get in and out of breaks. You have to hit hard breaks, which means you have to like literally be off the air at that exact second to fit in commercials. So it's a different kind of responsibility, I guess. So The Herd is much more fluid because it's radio. It's a radio format. and which is what I was, obviously used to, having done years of radio before I came to FS1. So I was excited to get back into radio. Excited, obviously, to wake up a few hours later, which is really a dramatic life change. I get up around like 5:45, 6 now, which is just like normal.
Life changing.
Yeah. But Undisputed was a great experience. I learned a ton from both Skip and Shannon. And it really actually, I think it set me up for success for the rest of my career because, like I said, it taught me how to prep. It taught me how to, structure my life around, this big responsibility of a national show and having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And, I feel grateful.
Well, everyone's grateful for you being on the show because the comments are like, love you on the herd, watch you every day, Joy, you're glowing. Like, Joy, I'm telling you, you're a thing. You're a thing.
Thank you guys.
One of the things I love about you is your no nonsense approach to a lot of things. I watched a lot of hours of Joy Taylor, and one of the things that I think really sets you apart just as a person is your authenticity, and you're not afraid to reveal and be relatable and share really a lot about yourself. You shared about your experience with domestic violence and abuse. Talk to us about that, because I think now more than ever, of course, we're seeing people really being open and healing and sharing their stories as a way to be beacons of light of other people. When you decided, Joy, to talk about that on television, something that's very personal, did you have to really go back and forth with the decision to do that, or was it just an organic thing that was like, you know what, I need to be a voice for those who don't have a voice?
Well, the first time I talked about it actually was when all the Ray Rice stuff was happening. It really wasn't exactly when the Ray Rice incident first happened. So I want to say it was maybe a week or so, which in our business is an eternity for a story to last. So we were in the phase of the Ray Rice story where Janae, his wife, had said that she was staying, and people were just reacting as people who are ignorant to abuse would, which is she's staying for money, or, she wants this, or obviously, she doesn't care, or, any other kind of explanation as to why she's staying other than what it is. And I really felt compelled, because I had never talked about it publicly before. It was kind of one of my, I guess, secrets, if you want to call it that. So I never talked about it publicly, and I was doing the show with Zaslow, and I just wrote a blog about it and tried to put it in terms where people who listened to the show, who felt like they knew me, and who I had let into very intimate parts of my life already, my relationships and what I do every day and my family, but didn't know this, how they could see me and say, oh, wow, I really like Joy and I listen to her show. I would never imagine that would happen to her. And it happens all the time. It happens to 1 in 3 women, right. 1 in 4 men. So I really felt like there was a lack of education and awareness for what abuse really is, how common it is, how it doesn't just affect poor people or people of a certain color or a certain gender. It is all across the board. It doesn't matter how much money you make or where you're from or how much education you have. Like, it just affects everyone. And it can be deadly. Right. Obviously, it happens very often that this ends in death or severe injury. You have children involved, elderly people, so it's very complex. And so that's when I first talked about it. So I had already kind of broken the ice, and I'd done a lot of interviews after I wrote the blog with various outlets talking about Janae and what I thought about the situation, what my experience was, and just kind of trying to educate people that this can happen to anyone. And it's not as simple as, oh, someone hits you and then you walk away. Like, yes, if a stranger walks up to you or someone you've known for 5 minutes puts their hands on you, it's very easy for you to disconnect from them. But that's not the situation. Intimate partner violence or abuse is very complex. This is a person that you live with. Maybe you have children with them.
Finances.
Joint bank accounts. You're relying on them for money or for your home or anything. So there's a whole bunch of complexities to it. So when I first talked about it on Undisputed, I'll be honest, I was very nervous because it was a much bigger platform than I had when I was in radio, a national platform. And it was kind of just me, talking about it. Not that when I talked about it with Zaslow, you know, he had the same experiences, but it just felt very heavy and different. And I felt like I had a real responsibility to articulate how damaging and the responsibility that leagues have when these things happen to make a very strong stance that it's not acceptable. Not just because there's female fans, but you know, we're having huge discussions about social issues in sports now, and sports play a vital role in communities and affecting how people view the world, whether that's fair or makes sense. It just is what it is. Sports are a huge part of our lives, and teams and superstars really affect how people think. So I felt like a lot of responsibility to talk about it. And then recently I partnered with URI-MIC, the Urban Resource Institute, which is the largest provider of domestic violence services and shelters in the country. And I just, with everything that's going on with COVID, and I'm going to post a video this week about this as well, it's just an added pressure to domestic violence victims. You know, you're stuck at home sometimes with your abuser. Children are stuck at home with their abuser. There's no escape. And abusers can use COVID as another tool to, you know, keep you at home, or you can't go anywhere. Or, you know, it's coronavirus. You have to stay here with me. And so there's been a rise in domestic violence incidents because there's no escape. You're not going to work. You're not going to pick your kids up from school. There's nowhere to go. So I feel like, you know, as a woman in sports television, I have a very large male audience, and not that just men need to be educated about it. Of course, everyone does. But I do feel like I'm in a unique space to really reach people and help move the conversation and awareness forward about not only how you can help, but, you know, just be aware that these things happen all around you.
Awareness is so key, and I love how you touched on the weaponization of COVID and how that plays a role in people that are victims of domestic abuse. Because, you know, it's always like, it's like a not in my backyard situation. People think it will never happen to me, and then when I watched you so openly talked about it in a way, Joy, that I talked to a lot of people, and I talked to a lot of activists, and the way you just laid it out there was very powerful. And I thought, wow, in that moment, even though I've never been a victim of assault, I felt like I saw you, if that makes sense. It was like, here, and you are you have a very powerful presence. Even talking to you now, there's an energy about you that I wouldn't think that you would be a victim of that, right? So when you on the show, it was like I had to watch it 5 times to really process you telling your story. Was that healing for you? Being able to finally, was it like getting, even though you had talked about it earlier, but on a national television platform, was there a sense of healing for you in that moment?
Yeah, it is. I think every time you talk about something traumatic that happens to you, it can be healing. Obviously, I'm not a professional. I'm just speaking from my own experience. The more you talk about things that you've otherwise suppressed or kind of kept hidden or been embarrassed of or not really understood, you know, it is therapeutic for you. I mean, these are things that I've dealt with for a very long time, and I know other people deal with it as well. I know people personally in my family and friends who, you know, may even still be dealing with it now. So I know what the experience is like. I can see, because I've gone through it, I can see the signs of it. So yeah, it's very therapeutic to be able to talk about it and share it. And I think it's important because, you know, it's kind of weird still to think like people look up to you or people, you know, care about what I have to say. Like, you know, I feel like but I know that I have to be aware of that, right? And just because, you know, I'm strong or I'm confident or I have this job or, you know, I live in LA or whatever, it doesn't mean that I'm not susceptible to abuse, because it can flip on you just like that. Narcissists are very crafty.
Yes.
That's in their nature. They're manipulators. And no matter how smart you are or how strong you are, or beautiful or rich or whatever, manipulators prey on your tiniest insecurity and weakness, and then they exploit it. So it can happen to you, and it's not like it's very different. You know, it's not a COVID, it's not the flu, it's not, you know, cancer or something like that. you can keep it from happening to you, obviously, if you have the right emotional and mental tools. But we all go through ebbs and flows throughout our lives. We're in low points, we're in high points. And so I think it's just important that people know that, you don't have to. And if you are going through it, there's no shame in it, because there is a lot of shame when you're in a situation. You're afraid to ask for help. You don't know if you're making the right decision, because your self-esteem is destroyed. You are completely wearing a different face every time you talk to anyone who's not in your home. So there's no shame in asking for help and leading and getting help. And I had to get help. I mean, I had to rely on the people around me immensely. And the people that love you will support you. They will lift you up and get you back on your feet, and you don't have to suffer.
You don't. People are saying, thank you, Joy, so much for sharing. Joy, you're being so transparent. Thank you for sharing that. And I think for the people that are watching, you're keeping that healing going for them. And it's so important. Joy, thank you for sharing that. I'm so happy you shared that with us. You mentioned that civil unrest. We know that the NFL kickoff was last Sunday. People are protesting in any way they can. This 2020 has been a dumpster fire on so many different levels, Joy. I can't even begin to fathom what I thought 2020 was going to be now knowing what 2020 is. But we're seeing the players do what they can to protest civil unrest. May and June was the fever pitch for racism, violence against people of color. You being so entrenched in sports, which with leagues that are dominated by Black men, 80 to 70% of the leagues are people of color. What are the conversations you have had to have with your colleagues about Blackness? Because people seem to think, I know, but people seem to think that racism wasn't a thing, Joy. That violence against people of color was not a thing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God! So when they see someone who is Black, they have this deer in headlights look on their face. For you, what are those conversations that you've had, and what has been the most eye-opening thing you've learned from what people have told you?
Well, wow, it's very layered. I've had a lot of very intense conversations over the past few months. I've had some very, I want to say, illuminating conversations, some inspiring conversations, some disheartening conversations. But overall, I think that the pandemic matched with the undeniable, horrific nature of the murder of George Floyd.
Yes.
Where there's nothing else to focus on because we are home, everyone is on their phone, everyone's going to see this, and there have been plenty of other examples of horrible murders of Black people in this country that should have woken people up. But I think that the pandemic matched with that horrible situation kind of shook anyone who had any shred of humanity left in them to their core. And it was just undeniable. Like, if you were on the other side of that, and I'm a Capricorn, so I'm very like, it's this or that. It's it. I'm not in the middle on lots of things, but I do happen to be politically in the middle. I'm an independent. I like to make my own choices. I'm not I'm not run by a political party or things like that.
Sure.
But this crossed all boundaries. Like, this was just one of those things where it's like, look, you're on this side or that side. Like, if you think that's okay, there's something fundamentally wrong with you. Right. And I feel comfortable telling you that you're not good inside, because this is wrong. It doesn't matter what was going on. Like, this did not have to happen. So I think that the enormity of that situation really affected a lot of people. And, since then we've had many more protests and, several, unfortunately, more incidents of police brutality. But I think that the conversations are ones that have been brewing for a long time. And I'm not an optimist. I consider myself to be a realist, which can sometimes be confused for a pessimist, but it's not true.
Right, it's not.
But I really do believe this generation, whether it's, our generation and, younger, I really think this is the generation that will finally make not that there haven't been significant steps forward, but as close as we can get to ridding ourselves of this plague of racism, I really believe that our generation can make that happen. I know that there are a lot of hearts that still haven't been moved yet. I see it all day, and hear it all day, and that can sometimes be disappointing. But with the tool of social media, it's social media can go either way, right? Yeah. But it does allow everyone to be their own reporter, if you will. You can't hide anymore. Everyone has a camera. So you can't kneel on someone's neck and kill them for 8 minutes and 46 seconds without having multiple camera views of you doing this. So, and then they can put it out for the whole world to see.
Instantly.
So the ability that gives people to tell the truth, the undeniable truth from multiple angles, I really feel like will push people who are just like denying that this is a real thing into another space. And look, I've been saying this for the last 4 years. We are living, I think throughout history, like if you look at history as just a line, right? Just an ongoing line. There's certain times where it's like, oh, we're going to pay a little bit more attention to this point, and we're going to pay a little bit more attention to this point, whether it's the Vietnam War or civil rights or World War II, the suffrage movements, Great Depression. Like these 4 years, we're going to look back on when we're old grandpas and grandmas and be like, this was a very specific time in history.
Yes.
And what side were you on?
Right.
There are sides. There are sides now. Okay. A lot of things in life, there's a little gray area. Nope. There's just, you're on this side or that side. And you can make that choice. And it's not a political statement. It's overarching. Like, are you an empathetic person who listens, who learns, who reads, who educates yourself, who talks to other human people about their experiences and absorbs it and has conversations? Or do you just go look for affirmation, more of what you want to hear?
Right.
Because that's really what I think is wrong. That, and also we just have a complete lack of education of history. I saw today that there was some study that like 60% of young people don't even know, and please don't quote me on this because I don't have it in front of me, but there's a lot of young people that don't even know that the Holocaust happened. Like that's a failure.
Right. There's an erasure. There's an erasure. There's an erasure of slavery and a lot of very poignant and pivotal moments in history that aren't being taught in schools anymore. Like kids, my nephew who's 12 knows nothing about slavery, knows nothing about the Holocaust until you have to show them. I'm not a millennial. I am the generation before, I think, X, Z, Y. But those are things you were taught in school, so at least you had the wherewithal, right? But now these kids are like, there's just, and also with the way education has moved, especially with COVID, it's like playing catch up to keep kids at the basics of what they need to know. So again, there's absolutely an erasure, but you hit on something that's very right about how this generation is going to be the torch to carry this forward, because there's a fearlessness with this generation. Really, and what I'm seeing, in addition to an entitlement, and much like being, you said that you're a realist, and sometimes people confuse that for a pessimist. Entitlement, there's something to be said positively about entitlement, because you feel like you deserve and you're worthy of taking those actions. Why should I absolutely deserve a seat at the table. As a matter of fact, I'm going to build a table myself and sit at it because no one's going to tell me that I can't, and there's power in that. There is immense power in knowing that what I want, I can have. And with this generation, that's exactly it. That entitlement is going to be the fuel for change, at least I think. I could be wrong, but I think,
I agree. You're absolutely right. That's a good point. The idea that you don't have to ask for things, you should just take them. I think that having a fearlessness for what you believe in is very important. And I also think that one thing I'd like to get past, and hopefully in the next few years, we will get back to speaking to each other with some form of dignity.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm in sports. So sports fans, we're just going to do what we do. We're going to yell at each other. We're going to call each other stupid and whatever. But like in the overarching views of life, there's been a complete deterioration for the respect for your neighbor. Like, and just an immediate jump to judgments.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying I haven't been guilty of that as well, because we're living in very emotional, trying times. And I myself lose my patience a lot for, ignorance and lack of awareness, or just, people who are just spewing affirmations rather than actual information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that, we're all going to get through this together, and we can get back to a space where we can have conversations with each other.
I think it's coming. I think you had said that this year was like the universe aligning for us to be present and still and pause to witness all of this. And then it's like it has to hurt before it heals. And I think that's what's happening. I think we will have those conversations. Unprecedented times are what we're living in right now, and we don't know how to move through this, and we're all relearning something about ourselves. And with that said, we've all learned things about ourselves, Joy, in quarantine. For yourself, what have you discovered that you were like, oh my God, had I not been sitting at home binging like The Boys on Amazon Prime, I wouldn't have learned that I can cook macaroni and cheese. Like, what have you discovered about yourself that you didn't have the time to know before quarantine?
I think I discovered that I'm okay being by myself. I'm a pretty big social person. During the week, I'm like a grinder, and I like to do the same thing every day, and I don't really go out and stuff because I just I'm very focused on work. But I'm a big traveler, and I like to have a good time. So that's just not been available for us. Like, there's no bars open. I'm not really into clubs anymore. I'm too old for that. But a lounge or something. I just like to be out with my friends, having a cocktail, enjoying myself on the weekends. And that's really been taken away. And not just that, just the whole social elements. Even if you are with friends that you're safe with, you're not mixing it up with other people. That's not happening. So I learned that I'm okay with, just chilling and, getting through the weekends without a hangover, which has been really nice. But yeah, and I've really had the ability to connect with a lot of people too, which has been good, because, we get into these routines and we get busy with our lives, and, you miss whole chunks of, your loved ones' lives because you're so busy. So being able to really connect and spending a lot of time on FaceTime and checking in on everybody has been really nice. So
yeah, nice is the word I would also use to describe having family time finally, because as you just said, especially in this business, it goes by so quickly. The grind, the hamster wheel just speeds up. It seems like every single day, and you're trying to just catch up. You're trying to stay afloat. Being in the media, there's so many things, and I have boob sweat, by the way.
It's okay. I get it all the time too, honey. It's fine.
Miami, man, that humidity. But we're gonna stay looking fresh because our skin is not gonna crack. But exactly. We have to stay on top of things. There's a lot to stay on top of beyond our skill set and beyond the profession and being potent in that appearance, mental. It's a lot for real. And so with that said, you miss out on a lot of things that you don't have, that you didn't give your energy to. And it's sad, but I'm glad that that's a silver lining of COVID. It's just reconnection. You're a mogul. Not only do you work on television, you vlog. Girl, you vlog. Your vlog is someone following you around, capturing those moments, and you're so natural with it, Joy. You're just yeah, I'm gonna walk here, I'm gonna walk there, whatever, it's cool. Yeah, give me the Snickers, it's cool. Yes, right here, I'm in my. But you also have this podcast. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not, and it's incredible. It's dope. That was born this year in 2020. I'm wrong, or you started vlogging?
No, I've been doing it for 2 years now. Okay. So I started a few months. I want to say maybe 6 months into Undisputed. So we're 2 years in on Maybe I'm Crazy. I originally started it with my co-host Brandon Newman, who's now with Barstool Sports. And yeah, it kind of birthed out of, before I was doing it, I was doing a Facebook live show, The Hang, which was guest oriented. We'd have a guest on every week. And I'd been wanting to do a podcast for a long time, just kind of to keep the radio muscle strong. Mm-hmm. And also, I was doing Undisputed, so that's a moderator role. I had a lot of opinions that I needed to get out. And so that gave me the platform to do it. But yeah, so we've been doing it about 2 years now.
Cool. I watched every episode that you had online. I don't have the time to listen to them because I have a dog who is like licking something on her body right now, and she smells like corn chips all the time, and it's kind of comforting. But seriously, it really is. I know it's disgusting, but it's like, oh, she smells like Fritos. It's great. But I think it's awesome how you've been able to diversify and really, really show people that in order to be successful in this business, you have to be a brand, and a brand that is, I would say, the real deal. Everyone wants to be in front of the camera. Everyone wants to say, I'm this, I'm that, but they don't understand the work that goes into sustaining a brand, a work that goes into making sure that everything you put out is top notch. Because at the end of the day, especially, and people get mad when I say this, but being people of color, we exponentially have to be that much better than our non-POC counterparts in every capacity. Be it from how we look to how we talk. God forbid you mess up someone's name on camera. God forbid, right?
Oh yeah.
And look, and I hate to put gender specificity, but because I don't think you have to be a man or a woman to talk about sports. Any gender can talk about sports successfully. It should not be about genitalia. But men love to come at women on sports and hold them to a higher standard because they feel that you shouldn't be talking about sports. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So seriously, like my dream is to have a conversation with Carrie Champion about how many times she's had to shut a motherfucker down for coming for her for being a woman in sports, because it doesn't matter what gender you are. You love the game. You love the game. Let's talk about the games, right? But for yourself, though, you've done an incredible job of not only branding yourself, but really building something in the following where people look up to and they come to you for the real deal, and it has to feel good. Do you pinch yourself daily and think like, damn, I'm Joy Taylor. I'm killing the game these days?
I mean, I'm very grateful for where I am and the platform that I have, but I feel like I just have a lot more that I want to do.
Sure.
So, while I'm obviously love being on the herd and doing the podcast and being able to talk to you and, do interviews and, live this amazing life that I've worked very hard for, I have a lot more that I still want to do. So I don't really feel like I'm at the top yet. Like I feel like I have a lot more to accomplish and more goals. So that kind of keeps me from getting too in the swarm of everything that's going on. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Like it's not, I don't want to undersell how great it is and what a blessing, especially during, the last 5 months that, I just feel really blessed to have my job, to be able to do something that I love every day. It doesn't ever feel, and it's very cliche, but it doesn't ever feel like work. It just doesn't. Like
right, yeah.
I mean, I really kind of worked until 6, actually, no, I had to watch the game. So whatever time the games were over, 8:30 last night. So from 6 a.m. till 8:30, I worked yesterday, with some lulls in between, but it doesn't feel like that. It's when you work hard for your dream and you're living in one phase of that dream, it feels like it's right. And that's, I really encourage young people that, especially like we were talking earlier, you're not gonna make any money in this business for a long time. And this does not happen overnight. Like I started interning in 2007. That was a long time ago. It's 2020. That was a long time ago. Like that's how it starts. Like your internship is the start. Like that's where you begin learning the business and getting experience in the business. Like that's going to be on your resume until you get past the point where you need a reel anymore, like your internship. So I just always encourage young people that, just go all in. It's scary to go all in for anything that you want, whether it's this business or acting or art or to be a doctor or a lawyer, whatever it is that you want to do. But if you don't go all in, it's not going to happen. You're just not going to reach the level of success that you want to reach, because it really takes all of your energy and effort.
It does. And fortune smiles on the bold. And I think you have to be pretty bold to really go for your dreams without abandon and say, hey, there's no plan B. I have a plan A, and that's it. And that's it. What you said you have so much more you want to accomplish. What is that? Where does Joy Taylor see herself in this cliche question? 5 years. What's your 5-year plan, Joy? I hate that question, but no, seriously, what's your 5-year plan?
I mean, my ultimate goal would be to own my own network. So I'm on the Auntie O plan, which is,
Hey,
however many years from now that is. But I do love the production side of things. I love creating things, and I would love to get to a space where I can give young people an opportunity to have a platform and, you know, provide that for them as well. So that's my ultimate goal. More immediate, I want to host my own show.
yeah,
So, you know, that's kind of the next phase of my career and goal. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of things in between here and there. But yeah, I mean, while also doing that, I've always felt a real responsibility, I guess, to, through every phase of my career, give back. So I want to, more than anything else, have a legacy
yeah,
that is
yes,
reflective of what I wish I was walking into in the business. So like, more cliches we'll throw out, you know, leave the world better than you came into it. But I do think it's important that when you get opportunities, that you give opportunities.
yeah,
So, you know, and I want the business to reflect our world. So more people of color on air, obviously, more people of color in executive positions, more people of color in production positions, and of course, women in all of those,
yeah,
women of color in all of those positions that I mentioned. So I think that that's important because, you know, when you're able to be in positions where you make decisions, you don't always make decisions that necessarily favor people that look like you. And
right.
right now, the business does not reflect our world. So, you know, I really push for diversity and, you know, just to, you know, encourage people to be themselves. So, as you mentioned earlier, I think that authenticity is super important with respect. You know,
Right.
I don't think that, you know, if you're just a crazy jerk, that should be necessarily praised. But there is a space in the world where people appreciate that. So if that's authentically what you are, you know, that is your role. I think the world needs the media world needs to actually reflect the real world, and everybody doesn't have to fit into a box. You know, we just saw a situation with Maria Taylor, Monday Night Football, you know,
Right.
some
Yeah.
radio guy saying something horrible about what she's wearing,
Wearing.
which, you know, we as women in the business, especially Black women in the business, get critiqued every single second of every single day. But what is she wearing? She's wearing something stylish. Hello. Everyone's not going to be on television in a button down. Okay. Like,
Right.
this is what we look like. She's not inappropriate. And, you know, it's like steps like that to expand your mind, expand the world that we live in. And I think more and more you have diversity on your television screens, on your computer screens, then people become more inclusive within themselves. So that's what I think is also important in my career. That's something that matters to me. It's not only just, you know, that I continue to move forward and be successful and get bigger platforms and do that, but I also I want to be remembered for someone who did something for other people, not just, you know, talked all day.
Legacy, and you mentioned that will be your legacy. My cousin Third Vappy Jelaine loves you, and she was like, "Get it going, Joy. Get it going. You got this."
Hi.
People are here for your 5-year plan, Joy. If someone, before I let you go, I have to ask this question. If someone came up to Joy Taylor and asked, "Joy, who are you as a woman? What is your foundation as a woman?" What would you say to them?
I would say my foundation as a woman. I would say that I'm extremely independent. For better, for worse, I am an extremely independent woman. And, you know, I was like, you know, that little Beyonce's independent. But I am, though. I like to go through life having my own experiences. And, you know, it's nice to, and don't get me wrong, like, you can still pay for dinner and open the door, okay? Like, chivalry is not dead. I still appreciate those things. But, you know, I do like to have my own things and have my own career and have my own opinions and be very unapologetic about that. And, you know, sometimes that costs you things in life, but I also firmly believe, like, what's meant for you will be for you.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I'm 33. I'm not, you know, in my early 20s anymore where nobody could tell me anything. I'm very open to advice. I'm very open to, okay, you've done this, you've lived through this. Okay, tell me exactly what you think. All right, you know what? That sounds good. I think I'm going to do that instead of trying to forge my own path through this nonsense. But I do think, you know, conviction in what you believe and what you want is vitally important towards happiness. And, you know, through COVID and a lot of things that I've been through since I've been to LA, some of which have been documented on social media, being really committed to your own happiness and being okay with, because often as a woman you get into situations and you're judged by, you know, you don't do this and you don't do that, and you know, you don't cook, you don't clean, let me tell you, I got this ring. You know, you can be an independent person and believe in whatever you believe and still find happiness, and you don't have to apologize for that. And it took me a long time to realize, like, you can just be happy and you don't have to attach that happiness to other people or to a job or to a specific place. I mean, I moved from Miami after living there for 9 years. Both my brothers live there, my mother, all of my, you know, college friends, you know, a lot of people I'm very close to LA, where I knew literally zero people, like no humans at all in this city. And this is not an easy city to move to.
Yeah.
And it was hard, you know, even though I had, you know, this job at this amazing company, it's not an easy transition. So being independent and really committing to, you know, what I wanted and standing on my own in that is been a part of my life since for as long as I can remember. It's just a part of my personality. And like I said, it'll cost you things, but it'll gain you a lot as well. And I will not sit here and act like it happened overnight, you know, being fearless, if you will. And I'm not fearless, but, you know, believing in yourself and standing on your own 2 feet, being independent is probably the best description of who I am.
And there you have it, you guys. Joy, it has been a joy to connect with you. Shout out to Kelly Blanco, our girl Kelly Blanco. Shout out to Kelly B. And congratulations. And you keep on inspiring and you keep on killing it. Huge fan here. I feel like you welcomed me to Miami. I'm just so grateful to you. Everyone go check out Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. Watch her on The Herd. Go follow her on all social media platforms. Joy, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. And all the best, love. All the best.
Thank you so much, Jason. It was so fun. Anytime you need me, just let me know. Love you, Kelly. Happy birthday, boo. It was her birthday a couple days ago.
Yeah.
She's the best. She's the queen of Miami. So if you need anything at all in Miami, that's the woman to go to.
Facts. All right, Joy. I'll let you get back to being fabulous, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.